65-pound braid. What are you, shark fishing, man? That's a common comment I got on that one video where I'm skipping and curving around the dock, skipping the frog and using the rod to knock snags loose. And then another one, oh my God, dude, it's like a 2.5-pound fish when you're punching. And I had the 80-pound braid. I was punching with 80-pound braid. They have no idea that it has nothing to do with the size of the fish rather than the scenario and what I'm using that line for. I think the vast majority of you guys understand mono floats has more stretch, fluorocarbon sinks, little lower stretch, more sensitive. Braid, essentially no stretch, tough as nails for its diameter, okay? So I want to get this straight. More often than not, your line strength or the type of line you're using has more to do with the lure or the scenario or the depth or the conditions you're fishing rather than the size of the fish. Oh, that's horrible. And, you know, I think it's a lot of these guys that are making these comments, they see all these line class records and stuff where it's open water, okay? There's like nothing for the fish to get snagged on. Well, when you're a casting type angler, bass fisherman, pike, muskie type of guy, you know, maybe even trout from the streams, like you get it. You understand that there's snags or you have to pull the fish away from structure or cover. And you get that, but a lot of these guys have no idea. So in the video where I'm skipping the frog, and I used to use 50 a ton. The reason why I use 65 now, and could I do it with 10-pound tests? Yes, if I want to be the most distinguished angler in the world. Come on, man, it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with performance for me. 65-pound braid is, I believe that's 15-pound diameter. For me, it manages really well on a 150 or 200 size bait caster, okay? And when I'm casting and I'm skipping fast, I'm feathering the line as it's coming off, and that 65 feels really good. It doesn't get caught in the spool nearly as much. It doesn't dig into the spool nearly as much, and it's much more durable when I'm skipping up and over docks, into berry bushes, around metal corners and post and dock ropes, and under where I can't see. I need to know when I hear that blow up or feel my line go beep and I hit them, I can move that fish out. The last thing I want to do is freaking make a perfect cast under everything and break a fish off and leave my lure in his face. What's the point of that? It's just pointless. Now, another thing, I even heard experienced bass fishermen go, 80-pound braid is overkill. For that punching video I did, I don't even think I punched one over 3.5 pounds that day. I punched a 10-8 this year. No one had a problem when I said 80-pound with a 10-8. They had a problem when I was punching 2 and 3 pounders on 80-pound braid through primrose. Let me explain something to you if you're one of those individuals that thinks 80-pound is overkill. If it's dropping straight down and the fish is reacting to it, I don't care if you used 100. I don't care if you use 200-pound. You may be able to attach a rope to the dang thing and they come down and they'll grab it. They can't see it when it's dropping straight through a mat on top of them. The difference where it applies, if you drop straight through and you're hopping it off the bottom and they come down to pick it up, that's where your line diameter comes into play. I used to punch with 65-pound exclusively. I have switched to 80. I have never noticed a difference in either of the scenarios, instantly punching through or them eating off the bottom. What I have noticed is 80-pound braid is 20-pound diameter, and it doesn't cut into primrose, and it's much easier to punch through and get them out with a guaranteed in the back of your head that you're not going to break off. Where 65-pound is 15-pound diameter. I know guys who punch on 50, which is 12-pound diameter. It's much thinner. It cuts in, and the fish gets stuck into there. It has nothing to do with the size of the fish. It has everything to do with the performance capability of getting that fish out of that structure and cover. That's why I'm doing it. Anytime I use braid, even if I go down to a spinning rod, I use 20-pound as my main line on spinning gear. I find that 20-pound is like the perfect diameter for casting distance. I believe it's 6 or 4-pound equivalent diameter to like mono or fluoro. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. You can look it up for yourself. But it casts much farther, and you hardly ever get line twists below 20, I run into getting wind knots more often. That's why I use 20. Has nothing to do with the size of the fish again. I can put a 4-pound leader on 20-pound braid, which I do all the time if the bite gets really, really tough, or I'm using really tiny lures, but it hardly ever has anything to do with the size of the fish. So if you guys see those guys out there policing somebody that know very little, try to educate them, try to not get mad at them. It irritates the tar out of me, okay? But I'm embarrassed for them because there's like 3 or 4 people that like those comments every time. And I'm like, you guys, okay, we're not just bank fishing open water to where I could be more sporting. No, I don't want to leave a hook or a lure stuck in a fish, and I want to have maximal performance for how I'm trying to present that lure and how I'm trying to get that fish to bite it and where I am throwing it to. That is all. Hardly ever does the line strength have anything to do with the actual size of the fish you're fishing for. I'm Nick, the Informative Fisherman. Drop me a follow if you like this video. If you didn't like it, throw a thumbs down. Screw me, man. Just go do your thing.